There we go. Good afternoon, this is Jeff with Sewer Tech Northwest. We are at 14546 Northwest Salvia Court here in Portland. We are located as you stand facing the front of the house from the street. We are to the left of the front door. Better landmark here, we're to the right of the garage door, about 3 feet or so to the right. We have a 3-inch ABS clean out. We're going to check the overall condition and serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. Water is currently running. We're going to zero out the foot counter at the base of the clean out. Once we get going the right direction here anyway.
It's pretty clean.
Yeah, not bad. Alright, we are now heading down line here. Water's running. We are zeroed out, and off we go. Alright, we just transitioned there over to 4-inch PVC pipe. Had a little bit of standing water right before the transition. We'll take a better look at that on the way out when the line is drained. We just reached the main here at 75 feet. We do have some standing water in the line here we're going to take a look at as we come back. But we're going to go locate really quick here while the line drains. Alrighty, located the camera head successfully. Line terminates out here on Northwest Salvia Court. You've got 2 manholes out here in the street. The line ties into the one. Bear with me a moment here and get the visual on it. It's the manhole that's kind of offset. It's not straight in front of the house, it's a little offset to it. It's also the one that's closest to the home, in case you're curious where the line goes. Right now it looks like the line is probably routed through the front yard area to get out to the street. That manhole does not sit straight in front of us. But it ties right into the manhole. On cul-de-sacs, that is a very normal configuration. So you got some standing water that persists up to the manhole, although it starts, it's very, very minor. This is a belly that's hardly worth talking about, but I'll at least notate it on the report. That right there is galaxies and light years away from repair worthy. you have maybe a quarter inch thing. You can see there's zero buildup there, and I would not expect to see any with a belly that tiny. And the farther away, you know, for example, if that were to be a big, huge belly, the further they are from the house, that's where you want them to be, the farthest away. That's in a scenario where theoretically a blockage even occurs. Putting distance between the house and the belly is a good thing. It allows for head pressure to develop, which is the water weight that builds up behind a blockage. So anyway, that's not the kind of belly you have there. That thing is doing essentially nothing to affect flow. So this right here is probably the most notable belly in the line. This one dissipates off at about 49 feet. And we're going to pull back through it. Now that the line's drained out, we'll get a more accurate look at the depth of water here. And so after found 23 to 25,000 sewer lines, bellies, and this one here, you know, right now you're hitting about an inch of standing water. It's not that they can't cause problems. My experience with bellies is that a huge amount as to whether they ever act up on you comes down to the homeowner and how the line is being treated. As you can see here, you have no buildup on the sidewalls. You have a little bit of staining at the top of the pipe there. You can get staining like that right there. You can see how the staining stops, I mean, just a few feet back from the belly. Whenever you have standing water line, especially when hot water goes through the pipe and fill that area in with hot water, like anything, when you have hot water moisture, you get mildew growth. So the staining at the top of the pipe is so thin and there's no debris stuck to it. You know, that might be the remnants of a past blockage. It could also just be mildew growth because it's in the presence of so much water, of just not so much water, but it's just in the presence of water. So, in all your staining there, if you were to assume that staining at the top of the pipe there is associated with a past blockage, your blockage made it to this point right here. Belly starts at about 33 feet. If that blockage, if that even was one, it made it to about 2 feet prior to the belly and busted loose. That's under the assumption a blockage even caused that debris buildup at the top of the pipe there. It's such a thin layer that looks more like mildew growth than it does blockage evidence. As you can see, the top of the sidewalls of the pipe there are clean. Only the debris at the top of the sewer line remains. When hot water steams up the pipe, it condenses on the top of the sewer line like anything does. You know, you get a glass of cold water out in a hot day, or vice versa. Water condenses, and you'll often get staining over the top of a bellied area from that for that reason. So I went and located that just for reference, so you know where it's at. The belly essentially starts right at the sidewalk. I'm sorry, not at the sidewalk, right at the curb. I actually was pulled back from that just a little bit from where the standing water begins. Your belly there starts basically right at the street curb. And I'm getting about 6'7" to almost 7 feet deep there. As you can see, zero buildup prior to this point. This line has not been cleaned for the purposes of the sale either. Otherwise, there would be zero buildup in here at all. There would be nothing. Some people are aware of their bellies. They jet them out right before the house goes on the market to spiff things up. That's not what you have here. You're getting a natural look at how that belly is acting. And there is, once you get just a foot or two away from that thing, there is zero buildup. The only thing I can even speak of is there's some grease buildup in the line. That wasn't even significant. My camera removed most of that. So my 2 cents on it is this: treat your line correctly. I would rescope the line at the 1 year mark just to see how the line is handling your living habits. The big thing is don't put improper items down the line, and cooking oil and grease is a big one. That stuff will build up anywhere, but it especially likes to concentrate at standing water. And that's whether it's a 32nd of an inch of water or 3 inches. It cools down when it hits water, and it floats to the top of it and starts to collect to the sidewalls. So it's a line that, you know, unfortunately, it's not a perfect sewer line. It's got a few areas here, like right here, another belly. But your line does not need to visually look perfect in order to function well. That's just the reality. So the standing water I'm seeing here is not significant enough, in my opinion, to warrant, I mean, especially that one there. It runs from 33 feet to about 49 feet. That is purely roadway. You'd be digging 7, 8, 9 feet deep, tearing the roadway up over something that I can't even recommend drain cleaning on. A few $100s in cleaning. So to go to that extent does not make sense. And these things are getting really blown out of proportion in real estate transactions. Not that bellies can't cause problems. They're more concerning when they're very close proximity to the home, when they're under the house or ventilation wall, because it hardly have any pipe to fill up to create head pressure, which puts water weight on the blockage and often breaks them loose. The belly out there, if you could develop a blockage out of regular old toilet paper, it would be very surprising if that was capable of backing up to the home without breaking loose first. So it's not that you can't get it to that point, but it takes some doing on the homeowner side. So that's my 2 cents on that. The pipe is all intact, nothing's broken. That's the one beautiful thing, or there's many beautiful things about plastic pipe, but plastic pipe can bend and bow to a significant extent without breaking. So all the pipe there is intact. You've got about an inch of standing water from 33 to about 49 feet, and then you've got 2 just rinky-dink tiny little bellies on the other side of it. One at the very end of the line, and then one right before the transition. About the last 3 feet, 2 to 3 feet of the ABS is, again, it's holding somewhere between a 1/16 and a 1/4 inch of standing water. Explanation as to why it would be silly to recommend repairs on and do repairs on stuff like that. It is overkill for what you have here. Even if you're a household that is living like heathens, dumping all kinds of grease down the line, I would still rather see people do a periodic hydrojet maintenance jetting every couple of years to keep buildup down than doing that level of trenching. It just doesn't make sense. And you've got some pretty good dives leading up to that point. So the water here has good velocity by the time it reaches that point. But it's also part of the reason the belly developed. When you get those hard dives like that, you lose a lot of the depth you have to play with to grade the line. And so a lot of times when you're fixing the belly like this, they don't just fix the belly. They often take the repair all the way back to where the line dives so they can chase more grade down and fix the belly. So it's not just, a 15, 20-foot section of pipe you're redoing. You're often redoing 40 feet or more, so in order to chase the grade down and be able to fully correct it. So I think that's overkill for the scenario we have here. If you had 3 or 4 inches of standing water there and or pipe joints were busted open to the ground where you're going to have a progressive scenario, that's a different story. What you have here right now, I can't say the line functions perfectly, but it functions adequately. There's hardly any buildup in the line. The only buildup that I've seen in the line so far is grease. It's something that shouldn't have had gone down the line to begin with. So had no grease gone down that line, there would be nothing for the camera to even scrape loose from it. And my camera removed almost every bit of grease that was in there already. So we have adequate flow of the main lateral connection. All the pipe we just scoped there is in good condition and intact. Sewer line is functioning at this time.